this or am I not doing a good job of this? Which kind of distracted me. And also, sorry, Jennifer, if I was not able to listen 100%. Yeah.
Well, don't worry about apologizing. That's the whole point. It's going to be a growth experience this whole time. It's fascinating to see how the coaches coach the first sessions and then what it's like by that 24th. So yeah, we're just sharing our thoughts. What was easy, or what was your experience as a client, and what was your experience as a coach?
I think it's sort of a relief not to have to worry about what I'm going to say next. Just to listen and, you know, as the literature said, put yourself in the other person's shoes, sort of just sit back and relax with it. I think when we're always trying to think of how we fit in and what we're going to say next and how we'll respond, our minds are spinning so much. So it's more relaxing to not have to worry about that as much. That's what I felt, you know?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Amen.
Okay. I have used to ask a lot and less and less, and this is a major problem for me. I feel relaxed more when I ask people and listen to their answers. That's kind of I don't know, but I want to get more information or get more involved in what people feel or what people think, and I don't want to give more or to make people know more things about me. This is why I prefer to ask than answer, and I have a major problem in that, and I don't know how to fix it.
Thank you for sharing, Ahmed. All right. I know Dave had to head out, so I'm not sure where Maria or Rana are, but I assume they'll come back here soon. We're going to move on to powerful questions, and this is the response. So as we're taking in all this information from our clients, the act of listening, powerful questions allows us to help partner with the client to help them grow, to help them learn more about themselves, to see what kind of actions they should pursue. And it takes some time to get used to powerful questions. We're going to do a little bit of a demo here, and let's see. Yeah. I'm going to work with just one of you if you'd like, if we can have a volunteer to be a practice client. We'd like, Amr, thank you, being our first brave volunteer. So what this exercise is going to be like is it's a bit of a way to force the powerful questions. Like it says in the training, powerful questions generally start with what, how, sometimes why, and they aren't answered by a simple yes or a no. And so I'm just going to start. We're going to coach here for maybe 10, 15 minutes. And I'm going to ask what questions for 5 minutes. I'll ask 1 or 2 why questions, and then ask how questions for about 5 minutes. Normally in a coaching session, that's not what you do. But with this exercise, like we said before, it's playing in the sandbox. So we're going to do that. And once we're done with this, do some takeaways and then break off into groups of 2. All right, Amr. And is it Amr or Amir?
It's very hard to pronounce, but I'll give you a funny tip. It's, you say it the exact same way you're eating a burger. It's like Amr.
Amr.
Yeah.
Amr. Yeah. So it's, okay. Amr. I think I got that. I studied Hebrew in college, and there's the double dot below.
How do you say it? How do you say that better?
Well, it's a vowel thing, and it's just you give it just barely any attention at the end. I'm guessing that's Amr.
Yeah, that's the best way to say it. Yeah, exactly.
It's just like an afterthought of the R.
Exactly.
Yep. Awesome. Thank you. Well, Amr, I'm going to start with, and this is kind of the starter question that we'll use today. What would you like to discuss today?
We can discuss passion.
Passion.
The topic of passion.
All right. What's significant about the topic of passion for you?
Because I'm currently going through a passion crisis, trying to find, currently, as I was telling Jennifer earlier in our breakout session, I've been working for 3 years, which is not a lot, but I'm having the dilemma of how long do I want to be in corporate? Am I passionate about corporate? Am I passionate about accounting? Is it really fulfilling for me? Is it giving me the kind of happiness that I can get from other things? So when I first started working, first year and a half, I had a crazy drive. I was very passionate. I was doing really well. I'm still doing well, but I lost my passion. I don't have that same motivation to go into work, to wake up in the morning early, go to work and do my best. For me now, it's just like, why do your best? Just do what you need to do. Leave on time. Don't put in the extra hours, and go focus on something that actually gives you happiness or that actually makes you passionate. You know what I mean? Yeah.
And what's the difference between, or the distinction between passion and motivation for you?
Okay, I think you can be motivated, but you can't be passionate. So
Nice.
So somebody can motivate you with certain incentives like increase in your salary, extra benefits, but it's all short term. I feel like it will fade away with time. Okay, it's like you need bursts to get you motivated, but passion is more of a long term, more of a end goal thing that you aim for.
I'm waiting for a book on that. That's a great title. So what would an ideal experience be that would be both passion and motivation?
I think anything that's in line with your passion will be motivation. So anything that you're passionate about will make you motivated to go out and put in extra work, extra hours, sleepless nights, because you know at the end of the day that you're aiming for that thing that you're passionate about, that you've always wanted. So there's something I didn't mention in my introduction. On the side, something that kind of goes against what I do. So on top of being very involved in accounting, on the side, I'm also a recording hip hop artist because that's my passion, making music. So that's something I'm passionate about, for example, but something that I know that I would like to keep as a hobby and I wouldn't like to pursue as a career. So, but currently, I think I'm on the right path here with coaching, and this is the thing where I'm going to be passionate about because it's going to help me help people succeed and find their passion. Which is kind of ironic since I'm trying to find my passion, for me to want them to find their passion. But yeah.
What brought you to coaching?
What brought me to coaching? Okay, so it was, so over the past 3 years, ever since I started working, I was telling Jennifer as well, is me and a friend of mine, Sharif Al-Ab, he's also enrolled in this course, but I don't think he could attend because he had a seminar. So we know that me and him want to do something, a business together. So we're always, whenever we're out together, we're brainstorming business ideas. What can we do? Oh, I have to get out of this rat race, to get out of corporate. do something that's more fulfilling for us. So we initially had an idea of a library, a paperless library, so it's just online. And the library would be an institute where it would have like a study zone, it would have meeting rooms, it would have lecture areas where experts in specific fields could come in and teach students and teach university kids about a certain skill they want to acquire, something that's not taught in the traditional education system. And then we discovered that institute would be too massive. The government here in the UAE would get involved and they'd take over it. So we decided, okay, let's put that to the side. It's too ambitious right now. And let's think of something else. And then a year later, Sharif came to me and he's like, yo, I think I found what we need to do. I'm like, what? He's like, I just stumbled across this website, Academic Life Coaching. And it's exactly what frustrates us about the education system, and it's exactly what we wanted to do in the library, to teach all these skills that are not taught without actually having to own a huge institute to house all these things and to pay for rent. We can just get certified, start our business, go contract with schools and universities to be their freelance coaches. So that's what got me to coaching. And also I was listening to a podcast, I'm very much into podcasts, so I was listening to a podcast where John Andrew Williams was one of the speakers about life coaching, and he actually mentioned Dubai, which actually hit close to home as well. I'm like, okay, wow, this is a sign.
Yeah.
I need to do something about this. So this is how I came across coaching.
Yeah, I know you spoke there not too long ago.
Yeah.
What are you most excited to learn through this course?
Okay, so apart from the business side of simply opening my own business and becoming an academic life coach, helping students, I also think these skills of coaching will also help me in my personal life, friends, with my fiance, soon to be wife. So I think they're with family. So I think they're important for anything, you know. And I've always had something I wanted to improve, which is to be more of an empathetic listener and to be a better listener. Like, I've been told I'm a good listener, but I know I can be a better empathetic listener. And I always jump the gun of trying to give advice, like you said, of maybe you should do this, maybe you should do that. But recently, over the past 2 weeks, I've been trying to get people to think more for themselves, you know, by asking them questions and not doing their homework for them. I feel like coaching is a superpower, honestly. And I feel if you get it right, it has so much power to influence people and to help them do better, which is also close to me making rap music, where I'm always trying to promote a positive message and trying to influence people. So it ties in nicely. And hopefully in the future I can do something with them together. I don't know how, but we'll see.
Why is it so important for you to have this superpower, Amr?
Why is it so important to me to have this superpower? Because I love learning, and I love seeing people. I love seeing that light bulb show up for people when I'm speaking to them. When I'm speaking to somebody, or we're having a conversation and they're having. People come to me a lot. My friends, usually I'm the one that they come to for advice, you know, and to speak to. But I love when they come to speak to me and they get that light bulb, that aha moment. Oh, I didn't think of that. It makes me fulfilled, and it's a higher purpose to help make somebody make a better decision and to help them improve their overall life.
So how will you know that you're successful in developing these skills during this course?
Seeing the people that I will get to coach become happier and doing the things that they wanted to do, but they weren't sure that they could do, or they weren't sure what they wanted to do, but after coaching sessions they were able to find what drives them and what makes them passionate. And down the years, of course, which will take, which is a long-term thing to measure, is seeing them successful and knowing that that success was a product of our interaction and our relationship.
All right. So how do you want to how do you want to grow more effectively getting in these first few sessions here?
How do I want to grow more effectively? Are you referring to what skills do I want to improve, or are you?
Yeah, that was a bit broad. How about this? How do you want to grow in your understanding of passion during these first few sessions?
Tough question, honestly. I want to make sure that my eventual definition of passion is actually passion, and it's not just another fad I'm going through, or another phase about something that just excites me. Because I really feel that this life coaching thing has been a very common theme to everything I've done in my life and all the business ideas I've ever wanted to pursue. So I feel like I'm on the right track, and I feel like I'm going in the right direction. So I just want to continue life coaching, hopefully master it, and check the box that yes, this is what I'm passionate about, and I want to continue doing it for the rest of my life.
Excellent. Thank you, Aman, for being willing to be our first volunteer here. So just to catch up, Maria and Rana, what we were doing here is practicing powerful questions, and we're kind of forcing it a little bit, because in that I spent about 60% of the time on what questions, probably asked about 6 or 7 what questions. And then I moved on to 1 why question. And in your practice, maybe do 1 or 2 whys, and then follow up with 2 or 3 how questions. And a lot of times a good coaching session will look a little bit like that. So to step back, we'll spend about 4 minutes before we break off into groups here. What do you guys notice about that that demonstration of powerful questions?
I noticed it was like improvised, like your questions were improvised. You were not reading them, right? Mm-hmm. That was my observation.
Thank you.
They were hard. They were hard. It was hard for you to put them the way you wanted to put them.
Sure. Thank you. What else?
I think you you kind of went with his direction. So he started with passion, how to pick up his passion, and you kind of so he led you to the X in the ground, and you let him dig, and so he just kept digging and kept finding more and more answers over
mm-hmm.
that.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Rob. What else?
The way you'd reflect on his previous response in order to form your next question appropriately. And there was a lot of purpose, and then often when you'd pose that next question, he'd repeat it back and kind of think. So there was just, I mean, in today's world, when we're like moving so quickly and people are multitasking, it was just noticeable how much pausing, thinking, purpose, to the session in general. So I liked that, you weren't just ready with your next question. You're tailoring that, like Rob said, to his response,
Mm-hmm.
And Brian, I don't know if this is the coaching technique you were using, but it was very helpful. Like Jennifer was saying, the pausing, between after my response, you do a pause and you think. That pause would actually allow me to think about,
Yes.
is there something else I want to say? And if I didn't say it, I wouldn't interrupt you before your first question. So you go into your next question, and then I try to bring in that thing that I missed out and use it as an answer in the next question. But basically, it just gave me a time to get closure and to think, oh, is there anything else I missed out and wanted to say?
That is so important. Thank you, Omar. And what we'll do in future sessions when we're growing in our courage and bravery is we're going to force sometimes maybe 10 to 12 seconds of silence between questions. That's horribly hard sometimes, but it's fascinating. If a coach is willing to, John and I was talking about this. I had a hard time with this early on, but he talks about it like catching air. He's big into mountain biking. So when you catch air, you can either flail around and wreck, or you can just enjoy it and land as best you can. And after you've asked a question, the client answers, you're not figuring out your question while they're talking. You figure it out afterwards. Give it some time. And that's beneficial for you to help them come, or for you to ask a more powerful question for their sake. But it's also helpful for them. Like Amir was saying, he's able to process himself. That silence is there for both of you. And so the more comfortable you are with silence, the more powerful the coaching will be. Pretty counterintuitive stuff. Why don't we jump off here? We're going to spend, our time is a little bit different today. So we want to come back about 10 till. We'll do a short debrief after these exercises. Each of you spend about 15 minutes coaching. And what you want to do is spend a good part of that in what questions? Ask about 7 or so what questions. Then ask 1, maybe 2 why questions. And then finish up with how questions. Again, this is not normal coaching, but we're exercising these muscles. Okay? All right. And if you need something to start, you can start with the question of what would you like to talk about here today? Any questions before we head out?
So how long, so when do we be back?
We'll be back at about 10:50. So 10 till.
Okay, fine.
Or it's not 10:50, 10 till, because it depends on where you're at. All right, let me make these real quick.
I'm sorry, how many questions of what?
Don't worry about the amount. If we're doing about 12 minutes, maybe make 5 minutes to 6 minutes your what questions. The majority of it, but give yourself enough time to ask 1 or 2 whys and some how.
Okay, the total time will be at 15 minutes or?
Around 12 minutes each.
12 minutes to each?
Yeah, and there's usually a little bit of in-between time. But I'll call you all back right about 10 till.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Manu, I will join you in breakout room 3. And so we can talk there. So let's head out, and I'll bring you all back 10 till. Hello.
Hi. Oh my gosh. I think I'm totally messed up on the time. I'm in East Zone, but I live in Central Zone and you're in Pacific Zone. So I've been just on the beach doing nothing. I'm like, okay, the call starts at 11.
So the class starts at 7 to 9 Pacific.
So did I miss?
Are you Eastern?
I'm usually Central, but right now I am in Hilton Head, so I am Eastern right now for today.
Okay, so we add 3, so it's 10. Yeah, it would be 10 to 12. Yeah.
So I missed like the entire session.
It's okay. We'll kind of work together here to catch you up, and these are also recorded. And also, this is like one of the most technically glitchy ones that we've ever done. Last night, I was in another session with John. Everything was normal, and this morning our Zoom account was reset to not pro, and so every 40 minutes we were having to reset, and so it's been an interesting one overall, so don't worry.
Okay, yeah, so I'm so sorry. Okay, so what all did I miss?
Okay, so yeah, let's do some of these exercises. We were talking a lot about active listening and powerful questions this time, and how it's like the breathing in and breathing out of coaching, the foundation. And if we get this stuff right, then all the other stuff falls in place. But without really exercising the powerful questions and active listening, then it's hard to do more because this is really what makes coaching. So probably next time I'll have you introduce yourself to the group. That's also what we did for about 30 minutes. So,
and how many people are there in this group with us?
Total, we've got 9 participants, and I'm the trainer. Today we had 7, and 1 had to head out.
Okay.
All right, I'm going to go through.
Okay. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I messed up. I hate messing up, so.
It is okay. Yeah, I saw your LinkedIn profile. I was looking into everyone's LinkedIn real quick to see if anyone was there. And so you studied in Punjab? Really? Now where is that again?
It's near New Delhi. So
New Delhi, okay.
It's like 3 hours from Delhi. So that's where I lived, and I've been in US for 22 years.
Wow. And
in fact, that is the market I'm trying to niche because I'm an educator for the last 10 years.
Okay.
And I have a life coach myself.
Mm-hmm.
And we all are Ziegler certified speakers. I'm a ZLTer.
I saw that. That's great.
So, and it's really interesting. Yesterday I got a confirmation from a nonprofit that actually coaches kids for middle school on how to not drop out of high school.
Nice.
So I'm hoping I'm going to link the two together.
Very good. So let's see. Oh, this is exciting. There's so many people that come into these ALC courses that have a very exciting vision for education. So thank you for joining. It's so important.
Yes, I just sold my business, so I'm going to be done with my business, Kuman, by June.
Mm-hmm.
So then I'll have more time to indulge into this.
All right. Well, I'm going to take you through some of the basic exercises that we did. And we might do 10 minutes of coaching or so, a little bit back and forth as well.
Okay.
So the first thing we did was to do some basic voice mirroring. Main thing is I'd be talking and then everybody else is kind of mumbling to themselves what I'm saying. And so the challenge is trying not to think in terms of me, like oneself, but instead of just trying to understand what the person is saying, what it's like for them to say it. So that's kind of what active listening is. Normally you're not just mumbling to yourself what the client's doing, but it's a way to exercise it.
Okay.
You want to practice that real quick? I'll put you on mute. And we'll do that for just a minute. All right. And I picked something horrible. I was cruel. So yeah, try to repeat yourself. You can do it out loud or in your head. But so my wife's due date was 2 Saturdays ago, and we're really excited. She always goes about 9 days over, so it's really normal. But I'm also just getting into this class. So I was telling Nikki, you can have the baby on Saturday or Sunday and maybe Monday morning, but make sure not to have it on Monday night or Tuesday, or I won't be able to do my class. And she said, oh yeah, thanks. I'll make sure to do that. but yeah, things are going well with the pregnancy, and we're just trying to be patient. This is our 8th child. And so we've kind of gotten used to the routine, and we also know that every pregnancy is different. So we're trying to be patient and pay attention. So there we go.
Okay.
What was that like?
This, I can tell you, will be the hardest thing for me to accomplish, because I'm a very quick learner and a quick thinker.
Mm-hmm.
So when a problem is happening, I'm already thinking about the solution.
Yeah.
And what's going to happen next, and not in the moment. And that's where my husband always tells me it's good and a bad thing at the same time.
Exactly.
So I know when I was reading the book about listening, I know that's going to be an interesting challenge for me. So now you want me to tell you, so I tried to absorb what you were saying.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you want me to like?
What was it like trying to absorb what I was saying in that level 2?
I was trying to visualize your life. That's
Mm-hmm.
what I tried. Like you said, you have 8 kids and this is the 9th one. And I'm trying to visualize your conversation with your wife that do not have it Monday night, Tuesday. And with 8 kids, another one on the way, how your life will be.
Mm-hmm.
And what is your mind, your wife is like, oh, I can handle it. I had 8, but you were still being responsible enough to say, can you have it before, even though it was a joke?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah. It was partially a joke. And of course, there's no ability to do anything about that. Anyways, and this will be our 8th too.
Really?
Yeah. So this is number 8.
Okay. Congratulations.
So I guess since we're doing this one-on-one, what was the piece of advice or solution that came to mind?
That you cannot control when the baby's going to be born. So why are you stressing out about it?
Yeah. Okay, great. So that's that level 1-ish voice here.
Okay.
Also like a consulting kind of thing where we're sharing advice. If you were to switch that into curiosity, you're just curious for the sake of the client.
Uh-huh.
What would be a powerful or fun question to ask?
What if you get a call? What if the baby does happen on Tuesday morning?
Mm-hmm.
What will happen?
Mm-hmm. That's great. What would be great about having it on Tuesday morning? Those are going to be the powerful questions. The what if, the why, the how. So like the exercise that I just did with everybody and what they're doing right now, they are starting with the question, what would you like to talk about? And they're spinning, and this is forced. This isn't necessarily what coaching is going to look like, but they're going to ask maybe 6 or 7 what questions, then a why question, 1 or 2 of those, and then some how questions for about 15 minutes each, 12 minutes each.
Okay.
And the purpose is to really stay out of advice giving and just be curious. I can't remember when you popped in.
When you were just breaking out.
Okay. And we had done a demo, and what we talked about was there were moments after they had answered the question and it was just quiet for 3 to 5 seconds. And that's great for the client because they're processing things further. And it's also, that's when the coach thinks of the question. And for me, that's totally different because I think as we get into core motivation, we'll probably have a similar number 5. We'll look into that in the future, but the expert, the one who feels value in knowing the right things. That's what we enjoy. That's at least me. And so for me, I want to demonstrate my knowledge to the client by coming up with a question while they're talking and giving them the best question right when they stop talking. But that's not as valuable for them because they're growing through the whole experience. And it's better to just be there with them, listen, then ask a question that's curious. Let's do a little bit of a demo here. I'm trying to think of math terms. Maybe 7 minutes each. I'll coach you for 7 minutes and you coach me for 7 minutes. That'd be okay?
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, we talked about this at the beginning. So our main value with this organization is practice. Yes. So we have very little lecture and more sandbox practice.
Okay.
And so that's what it throw in the deep end. And is it Manu or Manu?
Manu.
Manu. Okay. Great. Well, Manu, what would you like to talk about here today?
We can talk about anything?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. All your agenda.
So this coaching thing that I'm doing, ALC and I am ZLC, I am trying to I'm just trying to make sure this is the right path that I'm taking, because I am very passionate about kids. And I'm very passionate about education. But at the same time, education is not going to be the same in another 10 years, maybe sooner. The whole thing is changing. So I just want to make sure that I'm more significant than successful as a coach.
What's the distinction?
Successful would be I have clients, I'm making money, I'm busy. Significant would be even when I'm gone, the legacy continues. So kids, like I have coached with my tutoring business, I was looking at the numbers, 1,896 kids in 10 years. So how many of them remember me? How many don't? But then they always say that they come to my coaching tutoring center because of how I deal with them. So they say I'm a mean clown. I can have a smile and be mean at the same time. So I just want to make sure that this coaching business and I'm marketing it the right way. So it's giving me income and it is making a difference. So that is the big why in my life right now. Not the why, but I don't know how to say it. It's the challenge. It's going to be a challenge because coaching, it seems good. It seems interesting. People are, wow, you are a coach. But deep inside, we know finding the clients is going to be hard. So that fear is always there. Like, what if I don't find clients? And what if I'm not making anything? And any difference, or if I'm failing as a coach and I'm failing financially too.
What would be failure on the significance side?
If I'm not making any difference. The kids are there because mom and dad signed up. And I'm not able to awaken the intrinsic motivation inside the child that I want to do it. Yes, it's working. That would be, for me, that would be, even it's not going to happen in 1 or 2 or 3 sessions. It's going to be over time. You keep that hook on and saying, you need to come back, and they're excited to come back. These kids do lose focus really fast too. Those are the fears that I think about when I'm venturing into this business.
What legacy gets you excited?
When people the fact when they tell me that you're very blessed to do what we all think about. People say people are busy working, and they say that you are doing what you're passionate about, and yet you're productive and you're making it. So that just gives me that excitement that yes, I am being significant, where people are talking behind my back, so I must be doing something right. That they want something similar in their life.
So why is it so important to live out a passion?
Why is it important? Say that again.
Sure. Why is passion important to you?
Because that's what drives me. Okay. So for me, I'm a very practical person. So passion and experience have to go together. If I'm passionate about swimming, but I don't have the experience of swimming, it's totally useless. So I have experience with education. I'm passionate about kids, and combining the two, you are living your dream job is the word. So you can be, I would experience as a financial rep or something like that. That's what I was in before I became a teacher. But that was not my passion. It was just experience. I was getting experience. So that's why I think if your passion and experience get together, you can wake up in the morning every day and you don't even realize you're working.
So how do you see this course fitting into your passion?
All the kids that I have tutored so far, and then everybody knows that I am into this education business, where I do make us, go above and beyond of what a normal tutoring center would do. I think that's where it should help me, because I'm going to be a difficult client now. I don't know.
Well, how will you know you're successful by the end of this coach training?
How do I know if I'm successful?
Or how do you know that the training is successful for you?
I guess I have to find out after like 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
I think coaching is not going to help me be successful. I have to put in more effort, market the right way, market the right people, and then offer it to few kids without charging them, perhaps, so that they can go spread the word that she can make a difference. That brings me to something that I'm actually writing a chapter in a book, which is supposed to be due on Friday. It's called I Dare to Be a Difference Maker. So they have 20 people, and I'm one of the chapter contributors. And my chapter is called I'm a teacher, and that's my superpower.
Mm-hmm.
So how a teacher can be a difference maker.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess I'm hoping this course, that's why I signed up, because I'm assuming this course is going to teach me the skills that a teacher doesn't have. I have math and reading skills, but everything else is learned on my own.
Mm-hmm.
This course will give me those listening skills and having the kid find their own why. That's what I'm looking for.
All right. So how do you want to approach these classes to get the most out of them?
At this point, I have no idea. Like, I'm hoping that that's what I'm waiting that you guys are going to show me how to use it, that I can get what I'm really looking for.
Mm-hmm.
I have a client base, but then of course I want to market it outside my own city.
So having a new type of client base.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
High school and college. I don't know how to get to college kids, but I'm pretty sure. One of my marketing plans is to get into international market. All those kids who come to US,
mm-hmm.
I want to coach them, give them the soft skills they need so that they're not overwhelmed and scared when they come to US.
Very good. Thank you, Manu, for letting me prod you there. And I'm excited for you stepping out of coaching here. I've got a friend who is getting a lot of clients from recently immigrated Indians.
Uh-huh.
And they have just, the ones he's working with just have a heart to grow. And that's exactly the thing that a coach helps facilitate. It's exciting. It's a good experience. But yeah, are you ready to coach me a little bit?
Oh, okay.
Throwing in here. So again, what we do is just start with a simple question of what would you like to talk about here?
Okay.
And then ask a few what questions, maybe 5, 6, or 7. We got about 7 minutes. So there's some time and what, and then maybe one why question and a couple how questions.
Okay.
And one like extra credit if at least one of those questions can come from something that I said. So using some language that I used and reflecting it back.
Okay. So what would you like to talk about?
I wasn't prepared. I would like to talk about my desire to get a podcast up in the next couple of months. That's the goal that I'm going to be pursuing next.
Okay. Why a podcast?
Why a podcast? I enjoy producing content, and I have a big desire to help people see what coaching is, what it is not, what options are out there for certification, how to prepare well for certification. Essentially, I want to help promote coaching as a field, further promote it. And in podcasting, there aren't too many podcasts out there to talk about the nuts and bolts of coaching. Usually it's someone that is a coach and giving advice sometimes, or we're sharing some tools, but I'd like to take it from a little bit of a different angle.
So what kind of time commitment are you looking into?
Eventually, I would like to release one podcast per week, which would probably take 30 minutes prep, 45 minutes recording, and maybe 15 more minutes for mastering once I have my template up, and then uploading. It's probably at least 2 hours, probably 3 hours a week would be a reasonable amount of time for a 30-minute podcast or so.
What kind of costs do you have to looking into incurring in this situation?
Nothing. It's mainly opportunity costs. I got to say no to some of my current work to have the room, or no to doing something on probably Tuesday evening to be able to fit in the time.
Okay. And what kind of audience are you targeting?
Anyone who's just got a passing interest in coaching. And so it'd be someone that would search, what does it mean to be a life coach? And so I would have it tied to a website. My website got hacked last year, and I've been reluctant to relaunch it. So that's the first step, getting the website back up. And then I'm going to build 5 to 10 podcasts on the front end, and then start releasing.
So when you talked about the content, the way you explained was, this is what you want. So how are you doing the research to make the podcast stand out?
So that's what I've been kind of researching all this past year, as part of my own getting into PCC credentialing, in preparation to become a PCC coach with the International Coach Federation. I created a large assessment that would quantify how well I was doing in some of my call recordings on all these different elements of coaching. And it was just an exercise for me to learn what they're looking for. And through that, I learned a lot more from it. It's like when you're the teacher, you learn more than when you're the student. And so I wanted to take it one step further of when you're the assessment maker, you learn something else too. So I've been doing that, and then going forward, I need to look at other books, other resources, probably get into some positive psychology writers as well.
So this research, have you added this time into the time that you said earlier?
Not yet, no. So by the end of this year, I'm looking at the ability to decrease my hours on one side of my work, so that I could increase. I have enough that I could make at least 12 podcasts, if not 20. And I've gotten experience by making YouTube videos. I've got a small library of them. When the website went down, I lost some of my progress with that. I'd like to maybe relaunch those, but it'd be easier to launch podcasts. They are quicker to produce.
How do you plan to market it?
Mainly, getting the content out there. There will be some light marketing just by being there. People will stumble upon it, but my vision is to allow John to use it to supplement what we already have. To say, hey, if you'd like further insight, here's a podcast that you can see, and then the whole ALC coach training education culture can get their arms around it and maybe share it from there as well. So it'd be kind of supplemental to what the organization does.
Are you planning to invite guests who you've coached?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, and that was a closed-in question. Yes. Flag on the plate. So who would I like to invite?
Who? I was about to say.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we've got the break here. We need to have everyone pulled in, but very good job, Manu. Thank you for being willing to do that. I'm going to have everyone jump back in. I'll see you on the other side, and we'll debrief at that point.
I know. Oh.
There we go.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thankfully, everything does look like it's working.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't have any interruptions there.
Yeah. Oh.
One other thing, Manu, since at the very beginning, we talked about some of the etiquette stuff. And one of the things, if you look at your Zoom client at the top right, you'll see something that's it says gallery view, or it's a box with 9 boxes in it. You can click that and see everyone's faces at the same time. And also, go ahead.
Mine too?
You should. I see you. So if it's speaker view, you'll see one main video and then some others at the top. But when it turns to gallery, it's a grid. Are you on a computer or on a device?
I'm on a tablet.
Okay. I'll send you something you can look at afterwards.
Okay.
Is it like a iPad?
The Microsoft tablet, Surface.
Microsoft tablet.
I could see you in the other room, like when we were in the breakout room,
Mm-hmm.
but I can't see myself here.
I'm not sure how it looks actually on the Microsoft tablet. Oh, I thought I hit the button. I'm sorry. These guys are continuing to coach. They'll come back in just a second. Here we go. We got to fly low here, and we'll do probably 1 minute recap of what everyone's taken away from the experience. So, Jennifer, how about you go first here? What was it like as a client and as a coach?
Well, first of all, I wanted to get to know about Rana and her life. So I had, all these questions that weren't maybe exactly the what, why, how questions, even though I tried to get into an aspect of her life that I could ask those types of questions about. But I was sort of overwhelmed learning about her life, and so it was a little like maybe next time I could focus in on one section of conversation easier, because the nature of it was just getting to know each other. So I felt like, well, maybe that's how it will be. Just like students I work with, the longer I know them, the easier it is to sort of tap into something and go, because all the getting to know each other is sort of out of the way, So we tried, but it was a little bit hard, Yeah. What do you think, Rana?
I think it was hard too, because I didn't have anything specific in mind, because like you said, I don't know anything about her except that she's a tutor. And I know that she has a dog. So it was easy to see Ned and to know about him. but other than that, I try to ask a broad question to know more about her. To start off, after that, I'm asked more specific questions that will let her talk more. In being a client, I wasn't sure if I was supposed to share some personal stuff or not. You are muted. Brian, you're muted.
Sorry. Yeah,
Okay.
so very good, important to talk about. Whenever we do these practice sessions, we do want it to feel like a safe space for you to share what you would like to share and to have an agenda talking about something that you'd like to talk about. And so the rule is when we come back and debrief on everything, you cannot share anything at a personal level unless you've already gotten permission. So we want to talk about what was the experience like, what you learned from it, and those kinds of things, rather than, oh, did you hear that thing about Jennifer? Of course, I mean, I think that's pretty obvious, but just to make it clear, that way it feels more safe during the actual coaching session.
Okay. So we have, as a client, we have to act like it's a normal coaching session.
Yes, and don't feel like you have to do a mock coaching where you're pretending to be a student or something like that. Just it's really about being yourself.
Okay. That's why what I tried to do. I was quite confused at first, but then I'm usually comfortable talking with people, even people I just met. So it wasn't that hard for me. Then, as I told you, I was trying to learn more about Jennifer. I guess if you put me with Maria, for example, I guess it would have been easier because we have talked with each other in another breakout section. So I guess it's part of the process. The first session, you just try to get to know your client and get a standing points. And
it really, this first session, like I was telling Manu, and we'll do an introduction officially, Manu, on our next call. But we really do value practice. And so jumping in the deep end here is a part of it. And so we've got 24 sessions where we will be practicing and grow as coaches through that. 30 seconds each. We got to keep to the top of the hour. Ahmed, what was your main takeaway? There you go. You're unmuted.
Okay. I was a client at the first. I was so confused. But I have the first session was with Rob, and this make it more relaxed to talk with him. The responses of Rob makes me feels more relaxed. Anything I said to him, he said good question, and he support me. This makes me feels better and makes me more relaxed. This was more important to me. When I started classes, it was something I didn't used to do. The experience was great. The processing time is more important. I didn't. The last time I think I asked questions, it was so confused that I asked questions one after one without time to understand or to ask to rethink.
Yeah.
I have to start and stop for seconds to process my data and then ask it again. It increased the productivity. It increased my my processing point. This was great.
Okay, thank you, Ahmed. Rob, real quick, 30 seconds.
Yeah, I got my timer up, so I'll
go. That's good.
It was it's a good exercise. I really enjoyed hanging out with Ahmed. He's a rock star. I enjoy talking to him. He's very easy to talk with, to be able to share with, and to be able to get to know him. I could definitely feel the passion in his heart for art and the things that he values. And so to be able to play off that and walk with him through that was easy. He was interactive and did really well. And then to be able to turn around and answer his questions were good because he's a great listener. So it encouraged me.
Very good. All right, Amr and Maria.
Okay, let me go first. Okay, I'll make it very quick. I wrote them down. So what I noticed midway through the session is that my questions became too long. They had tails, as you guys like to refer to it. And I did it once, and I'm like, I'm not going to do it again, but I kept doing it. So that was hard to get rid of. I also had a dilemma of after Maria was saying some stuff, when she was coming up with her own ideas, I liked some of the stuff she was saying. I was confused. Should I say I like that, or should I not, or should I say yes, or should I not say anything at all? I didn't know if I should be agreeing or nodding or anything. I thought I had to be neutral, so I tried to not do anything. I was confused if I should be taking notes during the process or not. I wanted to write down some stuff because I usually have a bad memory. I like to write notes, but I don't want it to be confused with me not being a good listener, not being attentive to what she's saying. And also something I loved, actually I really enjoyed the session, by the way, with Maria.
Good.
And she did have an aha moment, and when she did, I died. I'm like, oh my God, no way.
No, nice.
So I really enjoyed it.
So very good point, Summer. Try to be a little bit neutral. Don't try to give too much affirmation of what they're saying all the way throughout, but it's not a bad thing by any means. And stretch yourself by trying not to take too many notes. Maybe make some shorthand notes. That's something I had to work with, and it helps you listen better the fewer notes you take. And that's sometimes hard to let go of those notes. I know how that feeling is. Maria, yeah.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the session. Actually, it was very helpful. He is a really good coach. He led all the questions really well and led me to a solution. When I was doing the questions, yes, it was difficult for me not to jump in and give comments like, yeah, I agree, you were right, or you shouldn't be afraid of this, or you shouldn't do that. So I guess I have to work on that, just becoming more neutral. Same with Rana in the first session, I was too emotional too.
Thank you, Maria. Manu, do you want to close us out? Like I said, we'll do a full introduction next time. There we go. Got it. Go ahead, Manu. Okay. Final thoughts.
So as soon as I logged in, I was thrown into the coaching session with the trainer. So that was not fair for me. But I realized that how hard it is for me to channel and funnel my thoughts. When you were asking the questions, I was like, if I had to do the map analysis, brain analysis, I was dots everywhere. I had no idea what I was saying. I have to learn how to funnel it so that I can answer. So hopefully with more coaching sessions, from a client's perspective, I think maybe that's how it might be for the first time. Mm-hmm. And you were obviously asking me great questions. It's just I didn't realize that. But other way around, when I was asking you questions, it was much easier for me. I was way more comfortable because being a teacher, the 5 W's and an H is something we always talk about. Yeah. So it gave me a chance to practice that. I don't know if I did a okay job or not, but deep listening is something I enjoyed. There was one brief moment where I was trying to really understand your why, but I really enjoyed those
the open-ended question, except the one close-ended one I threw at you. But yeah, my challenge would be funneling down my thoughts and seeing that from a client's perspective.
Thank you, Manu. Sorry we went a bit late here today. Everything seems to be back to normal with the Zoom client, so everything should be back on a normal schedule. We will do Design the Alliance next time. And like I said, if you need anything, email me or email Amber, and she'll send a message over. But yeah, I hope you guys have a wonderful week, and I'll see you next week. Bye, everybody.